Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with episode 134 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak, with ACG.
No loan! Yay! All right.
No loan, yeah, thank God.
I'm just realizing I didn't even change the template from last time I was here. I do apologize for missing last week, ladies and gentlemen. I had a lot of stuff to work on personally. So thank you, Karak. Thank you, Lone, for handling that. And this week we have... It's been a slow news week. I mean, it's a holiday week, so... We got to cover what we can here. We're going to be having a lot of mainly discussion topics, but the news is certainly interesting. So, as per usual, if you want to listen on the go, we have mobile links in the description down below, along with the Patreon if you want to support that. Keep the channel going, support that future content. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, so let's talk about our first bit of news here. Marvel Heroes is shutting down. Now, for those who don't know, Marvel Heroes is a free-to-play, basically Diablo-style Marvel game. You pick your Marvel hero, and you go through levels, you collect loot, you upgrade your powers, your abilities. There was a lot to it. It was almost the sequel that no one knew about to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 in many ways.
True.
Because that's why I gravitated towards it, because I had just beat 1 and 2 spontaneously, and I found out about this game and thought, holy crap. I was actually playing the Omega version, which was the console version. But you said you played it a lot with patrons, so I'm sure you have a lot more to say on this than I do.
It just sucks. And it also sucks that they said the end of December, and then the loans went away. I don't know if you heard, but
yeah.
So it's today. So today's the last day, and it's like, it sucks, dude, that you and I played a game and it's gone. Like, I want to be able to go to the library and grab a book and not have somebody say, oh, no, that book's gone.
Exactly.
Like, it's gone. And they already got rid of everybody who could have done like the server side and made it offline or whatever. So you and I mean, unless some random thing happens, we will never play it again. And that fucking sucks because I really enjoyed that game.
I was going to say, that's like a crazy thought, right? You know,
yeah.
That just we're so used to growing up, slap the disc in, you can play it.
Right.
But we live in this age now where a game can literally get shut down and never return. You don't see that with movies, I don't think. You know, like you said, you don't see that with books. You can always pick a book up somewhere, online or in the library. But with these games, they can just shut down permanently. And usually it takes some random fan service to get the servers running. Like we saw with a Battlefront 2, for example, the classic one where fans were helping run those servers and keep the multiplayer alive for so many years after 2005. I mean... You wonder, did this game have that widespread support to maybe see that ever happen?
I think it did, but I did ask a developer what it takes to turn it off or from online to offline. And so I was like how hard would that be? And the main thing is that it's the amount of data that's out there available for like a private server to even start is all the game data out there. Because if there's emptiness, like if the game loads your level, then you're screwed. You can't go to that level because the data's not there. And he was saying that because of piracy and because of pirate servers, they do try to keep a lot of that data on their server at work. And the problem with this game in particular versus Battlefield, what was the name of that one that they did keep going that you just said?
Battlefront 2, sorry.
So with Battlefront 2, one of the problems with this game is that it shut down so quick and they got rid of the people who could have done those things. And so I don't know if this game in particular will ever see it. I think it had a good amount of following. I just don't think everything's lined up to where we'll see that even be possible. I could be wrong, but maybe the PC version. I don't know.
It blows my mind, too, because I'm not saying this like from a Marvel versus DC perspective, but DC Universe is somehow still online, still kicking.
I play it every day.
Yes, still kicking, but Marvel Heroes gets booted. And was there a direct financial cost to this or something like that?
No, but there was that rumor about the CEO. Like, that was the first thing everybody said is like sexual harassment or whatever. And I was all, it's pretty odd. Marvel could have said, because Marvel cut them. Marvel was like, your IP's gone. And Marvel announced it first. And so that's possible, but Marvel in its own company has issues with sexual harassment stuff. So it would be weird that they said this company employing all these people suddenly because of one person And that's one of the things I worry about is, are we becoming so reactionary to somebody doing something bad that we're leaving these massive swaths of people who are unemployed? Like, so I think with this one, most likely the console version did not succeed. And I'm assuming they wanted it to fulfill all their financial requirements everywhere else, because it's very odd that the bank said, no, we're not giving you December at all.
That's true.
Yep, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so there's something there that maybe they stretched a little too far, and they were like, oh, you know, I don't know if they hired extra people for Omega or, you know, what, but did you hear also everybody laid off gets no OT, gets no PTO? It's just like
cut and dry.
You're gone.
Dude. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, sucks, man. Sucks big time.
I think part of the their over-reliance on consoles speaks to the ridiculously high prices I thought on some of the heroes. You know, especially coming in, I picked Daredevil because I think he was free, and I love Daredevil, so it was like an easy choice for me. But I mean, I was looking at some of the other heroes, and it was, you know, I mean, it's free to play, and it was a good game. You could go through the whole story as one hero and keep playing as that one hero. So you could essentially literally have this game for free. But part of the fun was, you know, shifting around those heroes, kind of like Diablo, where you start up that new playthrough and you go through as another character with a whole different play style. Marvel Heroes supported that, but the difference was you had to pay big bills to get certain heroes, and you know, obviously the cooler they were, the more expensive they were. And they did give you the option in the beginning, I believe, to unlock one hero of any choice. So that was also a cool move by them. But at the end of the day, it's like any free-to-play title, any mobile game where it didn't have like a hero rotation, which we've seen come into free-to-play games like Brawlhalla, Smite, where, you know, you'd get to taste new things and maybe consider purchasing one of them. Whereas in this game, they tried to kind of, I guess, get you to pay a large price for something that didn't really seem worth it. Like, I think some heroes were like $10, $15, and I love Marvel, man. I love it. I read Marvel comics all the time, but not that much. That's a lot.
Well, here's another thing, Matty, is and this is what scares me a little bit, that it's just a business decision so that Marvel can do their own thing. The reason why I mention that is because a couple months ago they cut a bunch of skins out of Marvel heroes, and they were like, oh, because of IP reasons we can't do this and that. And we were talking about it in the Discord and stuff. We were like, is it, you know, it's feasible that Marvel is like, games as a service are a ton of money, we want to do it.
Yeah,
we don't want gazillion, because they own the IP, right? So if I was renting something to you, and then I'm like, well, shit, if I do it myself, I can make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can make bank. Is Marvel saying, I mean, are we going to see a Marvel game that they do internally or something?
Especially, now that you mentioned that, some of the skins, like I remember the Punisher,
Fantastic Four.
They had current movie skins or current show skins. So you'd see the Punisher with his Netflix skin, they call it, or something like that. And you'd see that a lot peppered throughout the game. The Spider-Man had a Homecoming skin. And so I think that's where they also wanted to get you, was that continuous addition of skins through the cinematic universe, through comics. And I think that's how they also viewed it as a service to get people to continue paying. It's a good platform. It's a good idea. I'm not saying it's bad, because, I mean, it makes sense. People love superheroes. It was a fun game, and they had all they needed right there. You know, awesome cast, unique powers, fun missions, cool skins. It didn't really pan out, you know, especially because I was surprised how fun it was. That's the thing I noticed, was when I played it, I was like, wow, this is a good game. Like, especially when you unlock all your powers. I remember going to the nightclub in the first act, and I was like, this is actually, you know, they had the comic book style cutscenes, and my whole thought the whole time was just, wow, this is good, you know, and you don't see that too often, that level of effort in a AAA game, or not AAA game, sorry, in a free-to-play game, where I wonder, maybe did they put too much into it and not get enough back? I'd imagine that's a big part of the case, of course, because they're shutting it all down entirely.
Isn't it weird that somebody's like, let's charge one person 10 instead of charging 10 people 1? When I grew up, like, I still remember one of the best bits of advice I got from, it was my grandfather the first time, and then my dad the second time, but he was like, you know, 1% from 100 things is far easier than 100% from 1. Because any failure of that one, and you're done. You're done. there is no other well that you can go and you can dig. And so it is weird. I don't know, with these games, and when you look at it and what they were trying to get out of it, I'm just surprised at their price, like you said. I'm not necessarily surprised that DCU is doing good, because it is a third-person open world game, and that's just if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
definitely
it's
easier to sell, I think.
Yeah, and I think that both have their tendency to be overpriced. I think that sometimes people see third person and they see Diablo and they can't figure out why a character is more or is super expensive in a Diablo style game. But I think that that's just technically them not understanding how art assets are made. I do believe it was a fun game, like you said, like a legitimately fun, enjoyable game. And that is where I think it's sort of sad that they're going away. I get some people don't like it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a game that I didn't hear any real harsh criticism like, hey, thank God that's going away. It seemed like it was a collective, oh, fuck, it's going away. So it's a real shame that's happened to the gazillion. I hope that, I mean, as always with these big closings, we do see a lot of the industry, mold together and say like, hey, we got job openings here. So I saw Bethesda, EA even, step out and say, there's job openings here. Please apply. We want you to work with us. So hopefully those people land on their feet, multiple pairs of feet. Anyway, let's move on to our next topic, which is a game we're thankful for. I thought this would be an interesting topic, given that it was just Thanksgiving this week here in America is where we celebrated it. And I just thought it'd be a more positive discussion topic because, with the Marvel Hero news and what we're going to be talking about later, I think we could use a little bit of a positive interjection. So I'd like to hear, is there a game in particular you're like, thank God that exists, whether it's because it's so good or because, it's so funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. And dude, like when I first was like, we both played RPGs. How many times are you like fire, water, stone, or whatever? Those are your things. And stunned, incapacitated, whatever. And they're like, instead they're like vomit, poop, and you're all, wait, what? I mean, and they were small changes, but it's just different. Yeah, and they did a good job. The original and this one, they did such a good job taking, because I've played a ton of Simpsons games, and there's only one that's really I would consider very good. But with this, they did such a good job for people who play or watch the cartoons to jump into, but also people like myself who do not at all enjoy the TV show, but adore the game. Like, I mean, adore the game. I had such a blast playing them. Even if there's oddities, there's issues with them, I am so thankful that series exists, because if they say next year, in 2 years or 3 years, there's going to be a new South Park, I will be the first one to be like, yeah.
Yeah. No,
so for me, that would be it.
I entirely agree. I mean, how about the fact that Ubisoft did that? We saw Obsidian put their hands on it, and I think we could expect quality from them, but I was really, really surprised.
So was I.
I thought like, oh, they're going to have some gameplay system here that's going to suck. I got a little bit nervous while initially playing when you saw the power number or whatever as you equip new gear. It upgrades it. You need that for certain missions, but it had a really good flow to it where it didn't restrict you. And so, that, thank God, man, that's a great game. For me, I'd say the first one that always comes to mind, I talked about this in a video today as we record this, but Persona 4 is one that always comes to mind just because I love the feeling of a game understanding its players. There's no better feeling than just having the controller in hand going, they get me. Because in this game, it's a lot about friendship and close bonds and, what's important in life. And, maybe you have these really big responsibilities, but you try to distract yourself sometimes. And so I'm particularly, I'll talk about other games, of course, because I don't want to repeat what I said in that video, but that game is one that always comes to mind. And I'm like, this is the game I can always turn to whenever I need like a good pick-me-up, a smile, whatever, because its cast is just amazing. It's easily one of my favorite casts in a video game ever. It's just beautiful. Any other games come to mind for you?
No, I mean, because, and this just, I'm sure people are going to hold this against me, but I'm pretty positive towards games anyway. So like, I'm thankful for a shit ton of them And in a weird way, many times I'm thankful for terrible ones because they give me some kind of weird. Well, first of all, it's cool because now you can go, this is terrible. So when I see something good, I'll know it. But also because of the humor, like when we all sit around when we're all doing a podcast and we start teasing a game in a weird way, I'm very thankful those exist because it'd be like, Noah or 7 Days to Die console edition will continually make me laugh, probably for the rest of my life. So. But no, I mean, I'm so stoked about various like little things. I think Skyrim on the Switch, because it worked out so well. So I would say that for sure. I'm really thankful that we got to see finally Bethesda on that system. Like, remember how long ago they were like, yeah, Skyrim, and you're like, it'll never happen, or will it happen? And it did, and so I'm thankful for that for sure.
Like, just because it was in the trailer doesn't mean we're actually bringing it. I'm like, motherfucker, what? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, but I got to agree that Skyrim on Switch is quickly becoming like my favorite version across them all, because Skyrim Special Edition I dumped like 20 hours into, and I was like, all right, like I've done this so many times, but somehow I keep coming back to Switch. I think it's just because I can take it with me. And I think that moment of wow was when I hit level 10 and I go back to Whiterun and these people approach me for the DLC. And I think to myself, holy shit, like I forgot. This is not just vanilla Skyrim. This is Skyrim, all its DLC, all on the go. That's an ass ton of content. I was so surprised. And you look at that and then you look at Zelda and you go, well, it makes sense how they could support each other, but it's just Skyrim was so revolutionary for its time, and games still try to mimic it to this day, that it's phenomenal seeing it on a portable system. It's a real technological achievement. What surprised me most with that game, and what I'm thankful for, because you and I, we love audio, and we're big on that in games, is that
no compressed audio.
Yeah, no compressed audio. None. Because dude, when I was testing that game like 2 months beforehand, I'm like, fuck, like every character sounds like a Game Boy Advance SP, and thank God they got rid of it and they fixed it all, because it sounds so good, which I thought was impressive. I mean, there's so much voice work in that game. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah. Other games I'm thankful for. I don't know why it's just coming to mind, but Halo. That's a series, man.
Oh, you mean back in the day, Halo? Like number one?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I mean, I just have some of the most fond gaming memories when it comes to Halo. So I might play Halo tonight. That sounds like a good idea.
I mean, and I would think with Halo, it also, I mean, without Halo, I'm not 100% sure the shooter market, which I enjoy, would even really look somewhat the same. Some people can hate that, but I think that they sort of ushered in something that worked control-wise, could still tell a good story, stuff like that, especially in the first couple.
Yeah, it was definitely revolutionary for its time. It's funny because the first time I played it, I think I was in second grade. Like I was so out of my element there, but I enjoyed the fuck out of it. Great game, but I very much share your sentiment that I find myself pretty thankful for the good and bad, because like you said, to appreciate the good, you need to know what bad is, right? So,
and you need to know true bad. I know a lot of people who get to control what they get because they don't review games. So they get to go, oh, I'm never buying that. I've bought it. Trust me. And I know I'm like, oh my God,
it's
are
like,
you kidding
dude,
me?
I made a video playing and torturing myself through, what was the game? Ride to Hell. That's not a myth. That's not a myth. That game is truly fucking awful.
You want to hear a little story about Ride to Hell?
Yeah, I'd love to.
I know one of the developers, and they actually warned me away from buying it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, the developer themselves.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, they were like, absolutely do not touch this title. No lie. That was I still talk to that person. They're a Facebook friend. They don't even exist in the game market anymore, but they work there. And I was all, hey man, this looks pretty good. And I got an instant message. It was like,
no.
No.
I remember Deep Silver, after that came out, you gotta wonder if they were trolling, but they said like, we want to make Ride to Hell a series, and everyone went, no, please don't, because that's a silly move. Unless, because what would be interesting is to see, can't think of the series right now at the top of my head, but one of those series where the first entry's awful, and then they just have a huge change in hands, and they bring it back, and it's like night and day between the first and second game. We've seen it before. I don't know why I can't think of it.
I don't know if everybody's going to agree, but I think that some people, well, Infamous, I was going to say, Prototype, both Prototype 2, I know some people like, but there was one game in particular that when you were talking, I was like, oh, shoot. it just slipped my mind. There was one game in particular that I know that the first one, shit.
Yeah.
Damn it. And we hear about it less, of course, because that first one, if it fails, these are not connected. They're connected, but not exactly. But I think the reason why I thought of this is because I'm pretty sure you don't like the first one, and the second one everybody likes, and I like the first one and the second one, and that's they're not directly connected, but Dead Island and Dying Light.
Okay,
because
that's actually a really good one. That's
what I mean. There's a lot Dying Light parkour.
That might be. I felt this
really
relief in
good.
my brain when you said that. That might have been in my subconscious what I was thinking, but
What
could
you were
not
thinking,
put a fucking name on it. Because that's a good one. Because you got a really buggy, poorly aged title, and then you got Dying Light, which is like everything that the beginning wanted to be. Clearly.
Yep.
So that's a good one.
And what's weird is it's bad when the definitive version of your game is bad. And that's the definitive version of Dead Island is worse. I would rather play the original. And so Dying Light just came along and it was like, again, they're not direct, but they are in a weird spiritual way. Yeah. And so it's such a good example of like what can happen if people pay attention to like what wasn't working, including bugs. Come on.
Dead Island Definitive Edition. I spent $5 on that and I want it back. That stunned me how buggy it was, but also like some of the things I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. How I remember walking around and saying, "Wow, you literally can't go in any building in this game. It's all these cabins are locked tight. It's like, how did anyone die here? Everyone was locked away."
I mean, you could technically punch right through the thatch that the fucking thing's made out of in the first place, but I mean, it was also a sign of its time, the 360 and stuff. But and it had a sequel that wasn't very good, Riptide, or DLC, I guess is an expansion. Yeah. But Dying Light came along and like the parkour, the movement in Dead Island is so tank-like, and so you're accustomed to like a Pac-Man almost, and then you go into Dying Light and you're all, holy shit, I can turn diagonal. I can do things
shoot a grapple gun up and travel rooftops, use it for takedowns, like Batman. It's beautiful.
Yep.
It's a complete night and day difference. Well, that was fun being positive. Let's talk about EA. EA is being investigated for predatory practices by the state of Hawaii. There's also there was a little bit of a misunderstanding / mistranslation with the whole Belgian issue. From what I gathered and researched, they just kind of the gambling regulators or something like that. I can't think of the exact title, but they were suggesting to the government to look into it, but that doesn't mean they're actually looking into it. Then there is France, who a French senator sent a letter to the gambling regulators. So they're investigating, but not actually there yet. Kind of like I think the U.S. is. So everyone's looking into this, looking to take legal action, but we don't know if it's actually going to happen. So with all these general legal issues surrounding EA, I think we'll talk about that for a little bit first. But also I want to know, with Disney, according to a Reddit user who's leaked multiple pieces of information about Battlefront 2 accurately at that, saying that they might end up canning the deal with EA. Do you think with these continuous legal issues surrounding the company, do you think this deal is just going to slide right through and they're going to can it, go for someone else?
Originally, I didn't think so, but we're in a outrage state in the nations anyway.
Like,
I don't necessarily
talk about earlier.
I didn't love EA having it. So pretend this was a different company and then discuss, like, would it make sense to drop it? And that's when I think it might not, when I think of it as a different company. But people don't like EA, and I understand that. And it's an outrage moment right now where it's like, not only do we want them to pay now, we want them to pay forever. And people can feel that way. To me personally, I know a lot of normal people work at EA who also like making games too. So I don't want to just fuck their lives over and be like, ha ha.
Yeah.
But somehow this all happened. The thing that bothers me a lot is the fact that people could even pretend for a moment to think Disney didn't know. And the only reason Disney is reacting is because of the outrage. So there is no moral best friend working at Disney. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, the president of Disney called them. They're our best. Fuck you, man. Disney gutted the Infinity. Remember Disney Infinity? They just gutted the fuck out of that without any warning. They're just a company like everybody else. So I think there's a higher chance of it happening now with like all these states saying blah 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 blah, because I think EA may just say, and I've talked about this in prior podcasts, they call it restoring confidence in a company. So they'll fire the CEO. So if a company does bad, they'll fire the CEO, and that's considered restoring confidence to like stockholders. I could see Disney just saying, we're worried that every Star Wars in the future will have some negative towards it, so EA no longer gets it. And I think from a business standpoint, that is more viable actually as a discussion than the CEO kind of firing that we see a lot of times. Yeah. So, because I don't know.
I agree. I don't want to put a bunch of people out of work or anything like that. That's a very good perspective you brought up of imagining if it's another company, because if you put it as a Warner Brothers, it's like, well, do they do this?
Yeah, right.
Right. So I think, and I don't say this because I do want it, because I actually was one of the people when they first signed the deal in 2013. I was like, okay, there could be some bright spots here, because I had actually before this been making a Battlefront 3 wish list, is what I called it, and we always dreamed of DICE working on the next Battlefront. So it was a dream come true. I was thinking to myself right away, I was like, DICE is going to make Battlefront, hands down. And it happened. That was awesome. I thought to myself, this wasn't when I thought BioWare was in the shitter, so I thought, okay, we might get a competent Star Wars RPG. Mm-hmm. And that was all that really came to mind in the moment. So I saw some hope. We've seen how it's panned out. We got a game that's getting reworked. I would be surprised if it got canceled. Respawn's working on one. Not sure how deep they are. Then we got BioWare on the Old Republic, and we have two Battlefront games. So we haven't really seen much there. We're seeing a lot of legal issues surround it. To me, I look at it as, if I'm Disney, I see it's not working out with one company, but imagining if they took the Marvel approach of things and said, okay, how about instead of one company, we sit down with a vision. Okay, let's make this third-person action-adventure narrative-driven game. Oh, Naughty Dog, you guys do those games?
Yep.
Okay, do you want to work with us and make a Star Wars game? Sure. Sign the deal, get it done. We've seen Marvel do this with Guardians of the Galaxy, with Telltale. We've seen them do it with Insomniac, who is known for creative gameplay, and Spider-Man desperately needs that, especially in a superhero universe where we see a lot of Arkham clones. Great matchup there, I think. And also Insomniac's made open world games, another staple of the Spider-Man series. So that works out well. Oh, we need a fighting Spider-Man game. Hey, we have Capcom or Marvel versus Capcom. Okay, let's reignite this series with Infinite, So we see what happens and how well it's working, where these games have, I can't speak for Spider-Man PS4, but these games are doing well. They're being well reviewed. And I think Marvel's vision is generally working. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, I should also mention. That's a really good Lego game. I enjoyed that a lot.
Very good.
And so I don't know why Disney does, not to sake EA, they could say, okay, we'll keep working with DICE on Battlefront, but we're going to can our deal in general and start exploring other options with other companies.
Yeah.
I think that would definitely be a more, not plausible, that'd be a better route in general for the Star Wars license and games in general.
Not only that, but look at, and this is something that a lot of people forget, but we're starting to see a general change up in the acceptance level from an IP owner. For example, Telltale has Marvel and DC, which is rare. You almost never see a company able to handle the main competitors at the same time, mind you. Dude, they're off by 2 weeks. It's Marvel, then Batman, then Marvel. That's pretty crazy when you realize, or Marvel and DC, when you see those kind of things, you're like, okay, so they're able to do it. Why couldn't a company like Disney do it? I think that one of the main issues is, though, Matty, is that they don't understand games very well. So they do want to curate it through someone else. Like I think they don't want to handle it, because look at Disney Infinity. They could have moved that to a ton of different developers and said, you know what? It's set up, it's together, and we're going to feed you IP stuff, and you can do DLC, whatever. But instead, they were just like, no, we're done. We're just done. And I'm wondering if, because of the way that company is set up, and they are considered to be sort of slow and bulky as a company, I wonder if they just don't know how to do it right. Like they just, and so they're like, EA can handle everything. But I agree with you. If they said, Deep Silver, we want this kind of game. Naughty Dog, we want this kind of game. Or everybody give us your ideas of what this kind of game would be. And Obsidian was able to say, we're ready to make a Star. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I think you're right. Like that would be the best. I don't even know if it's possible for them because they gutted their game division. So
true that.
I don't even know if they have people who can, it would be almost where they would need to hire a couple, maybe of these people who've been let go from these various companies, hire them and say, you're the curators of the IP, go out there. Because dude, it is crazy to think that Old Republic is the most successful technically. Like,
oh yeah, it is.
Is that weird when you think about it? And
Yeah.
it had it had tons of story, tons of cutscenes. It was like mini KOTORs, and but it's old. It's not even the proper canon, and it's still. I mean, people are still playing it in droves. So it's like maybe there's something there. You know, I don't know.
It's gotten to the point of desperation where I have considered playing it. It's not like it's an awful game. It's just not the KOTOR I like. That's the thing.
Right. Of course.
But you know, I think part of the reason we could use Marvel as an example, but I think a good reason why they step into that field and have, you know, a vision for each game and they're contacting these developers, being really precise with it, is because the stigma is largely that in the cinematic universe, Marvel's kicking the shit out of DC. You know, they got their ducks in a row. But in the games universe, Batman took over, and you look at Marvel games, and it was awful. So Marvel needed to step back and look at what they were doing, and they're like, okay, we need to find the right developers to get the right games, because handing it to Activision and having Beanox make the 50th Spider-Man game and having it suck ass, you know, that's just not working. So they had to rework things. With Disney, you own, I'd say, arguably the biggest entertainment brand in Star Wars. How much forethought do you have to put into it to just hand it off to a company and say, you, like you said, you curate it, you do all the work, we provide the IP, and we'll just take our cut?
I have a side question for you, other than Spider-Man, because I think we would both agree that it's doing what I'm going to ask. But I'm a little confused why we haven't seen Marvel or someone take advantage of the supposed end of the Batman games, like Batman Arkham Origin City, fucking Asylum Origin City, Asylum Night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, certainly, I think, but Spider-Man's bigger too. You know, world. It looks like it's just going to be bigger. I'm wondering, is it because, and I don't know Marvel as much as you do, is it because Marvel doesn't have a street side superhero like that? Is it do they? Because I know that when I talk to friends about comic books, because I read mostly Batman and a couple others, like, and I'm certainly not vested in that interest. But is it because they don't have, like, they couldn't go to a developer and say, dude, we want a spiritual successor to Arkham Knight, but with Marvel characters? Is there no Marvel
the first one that actually comes to mind would be Daredevil. There was a Daredevil game in development. He's kind of more of a grounded, I'd say, street side hero. You know, it's not like Spider-Man where you're flying around the city. You could make a more gritty, darker.
And there's no grapple gun like
exactly.
Batman, right?
I mean, yeah, he can wrap his baton around stuff and use the string on that to pull himself places, but that could be used as traversal rather than actually like open world free roam web swinging. He's just the first one that comes to mind because, like I said, if we're looking at a spiritual successor to a Batman Arkham game where it's a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, you know, Daredevil's known for breaking bones and just getting his hands dirty. And I think that universe is perfect with Kingpin, Elektra, stuff like that. But the thing is I think Daredevil's popular enough to justify his own game. They were working on one. It got canceled. I don't know why. Yeah, Punisher would be another one if they made a Punisher shooter game. That would be cool. You know, if they dug into their B tier heroes a little bit, I think it would do wonders. Because that's where I think Marvel is its most rich. I think the face of the Marvel franchise is good, of course, you know, like a Spider-Man, Thor, Iron Man. But I think its B tier characters are more interesting in many ways, despite being such a huge Spider-Man fan. It's just something I've learned through comics. I'm like, often when I'm reading a main hero comic, I see a side character and I end up looking them up and reading their story instead, because I'm like, that person just totally caught my interest and I want to learn more about them.
That's Blue Beetle for me.
Yeah, exactly. So characters like that. And we see them like in Lego Marvel Superheroes too. We saw them get their attention to some extent, but it'd be interesting to see a full game on that. So when it comes to a street side hero, like I said, Daredevil's one. I don't know why with his insane popularity, I know this isn't street side, but Captain America hasn't gotten another game. That shocks me. That really does, because he, with his shield, you can get very creative with gameplay.
And I don't even mean, it doesn't even have to be exactly like Batman, because I think Captain America is a perfect example of one that could work, even though he's pretty overpowered, obviously. But I just mean, because, for example, Asylum wasn't open world, it was open asylum, right?
Yes.
So you could do a Captain America in a smaller place trying to do specific things. I think the detective work is probably what causes people to think it can't be done. But, I mean, it just seems odd to me that, because I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a developer and I keep hearing Rocksteady, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Rocksteady saying, we're not doing any Batman, blah, blah, blah. I'm just being honest, Matty. I would be knocking on your door going like, okay, it's our time to shine here.
Yeah.
Let's get a good team together.
Totally agree.
And let's because, I mean, look at how many games we've seen that where like one company pushes it. GTA, I think, is such a fucking spectacular example, because 3 came out and it does really well. People like it. And suddenly you get a Saints Row, which I'm going to be brutally honest. Saints Row, a couple of those titles are fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're different.
100% with you.
And so that's, I mean, new IPs are one thing, but like really refreshing it, looking, going, this stuff worked. This shit worked. Let's do it here. And it's so weird Marvel doesn't, man. Like, I keep going, Telltale? Because, to be honest, Guardians of the Galaxy did not turn out very well. And so you see it, and you're all, really? Like, that's the one place you'll put your IPs, of course, Lego.
But it's like, we expect that, because these are Telltale and TT Games. They're companies that get a hold of numerous IPs and churn out.
So it's not surprising.
Yeah, exactly. A similar game of style that we've seen, but it's in that universe we want to be a part of. So it becomes a little bit more appealing then. I'm not even mentioning it. I don't know why they haven't. Did they actually say, not actually, but did they really say like they're completely done with Batman?
Yeah, Rocksteady. And I think even Warner Brothers mentioned it. And then, of course, that voice actor stated that he had been informed that they were done. Then there was the rumor about his son, Nightwing. There was a story about, that's not, is that his son? I can't fucking remember.
I don't know.
I apologize to comic book fans who are now wanting to throw shit at the computer, but there have been a couple small, like discussions. Then there was a discussion that there was a Justice League game being created. I can see those working out, but personally, and I think Spider-Man is taking some of this, but personally, I am just really surprised, because maybe people are going to think it's a bad idea because it is a copy, but I'm just blown away that Marvel hasn't stepped forward and said, there is no Batman, there is no competitor. Let's enter this area where people they want Batman, but they also want that gameplay, and you can mimic that gameplay. I mean, with some of these other characters, but I could be wrong.
I mean, certainly a lot of other companies don't have an issue, companies, but Warner Brothers seems to have no problem tossing free flow and combat into any title they publish. I just hope now that we're seeing Injustice get Ninja Turtle DLC, that means Warner Brothers somehow got a hold of the Ninja Turtles license somehow, because it used to be under Activision.
What about a Ninja Turtles game then?
And
like that?
That's what I was just about to say. My dream, I don't know how many times I've said this for years, and there was a rumor one time that Rocksteady was going to make a Ninja Turtles game. So I wonder if they got a hold of the license, if this is something they could do, because that's why I got more excited. I mean, the DLC hyped me up for Injustice 2, but I thought to myself, holy fuck, if Warner Brothers has this, the possibilities. Because we haven't seen a true Ninja Turtles game in ages. Or true good Ninja Turtles anything outside of its comics in ages. It's just unheard of. So I'm really, actually, the show on Nickelodeon's not bad, but I digress. hopefully Disney sorts their shit out and finds a good partner for Star Wars games, because that's a series that's cursed. It's cursed in the game department.
It is now. Yeah, it is.
It's like, it can't. You see 1313 get canceled. It can't get worse than this. Guess what, motherfucker?
It's progressively gotten worse. Exactly. Like, it's you do wonder at some point when you're at the bottom of the hole trying to find out if you can dig deeper. But I mean, I don't know. I think that IP also might need a switch in, like, maybe what you and I want has a higher chance now of happening, because I do think that with the first person, it's going to be connected to microtransactions for years to come. And so it's like, do you switch it up and do you do a 1313 kind, and that way you don't, because first person shooters, just being honest, if you and I sat down for a first person shooter, one of the first, and it's got multiplayer, one of the first things I'm going to look for is like your tiers and your equipment, right? But a third person action adventure game has far less of a chance of tiered purchases in DLC. It just does usually. And so the idea of a KOTOR 3, it makes more sense now than it did in the past, because of the microtransactions being so fucking, I mean, it's focused like a fuck now. Like, I don't think they can get there. I don't think they can get from under it for a while. They're going to have to do something.
Well, that's the thing, is because Disney is guilty of, they gutted, like you said, Disney Affinity, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. While I enjoyed it a little bit, I remember playing it in the car a couple of times. It was fun, but that's it's a mobile game, but that's one that definitely tries to get you to pay instead of play. Unlike, I think more companies need to take inspiration from Fallout Shelter, because that's a game that you see what happens when they just give you the game and let you play, how much fucking money they made and how much they own the market. Not even just because it's Bethesda, just they made a good game and people enjoyed it who didn't even know what the fuck Fallout was. So I think the issue is the stigma. I think really it is that, like you said earlier, we have an issue where now there is this gambling stigma, there is this cheating stigma attached to Battlefront 2. And, you're judged by the company you keep. And Disney's like, oh, boy, we're in bed with EA right now. So what do we do?
Yeah.
Time shall tell if they make a move or not. I'm curious to see. Anyway, after that, we'll go back to more exciting stuff. We're going to go over some games that we enjoyed this year. They're on deals for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And, because you and I, we review games a lot. We both use a buy, wait for. You have more tiers for me. Mine's a buy, wait for sale, pass. Yours is a buy, rent, wait for sale, deep sale, pass, stuff like that. Correct? So,
yeah.
What I think we're gonna do here, or what I'm going to suggest we do, is go over games that maybe we said wait for a sale on, and based off those sales, do we think that that's a justifiable price of admission?
So, you mean like if the price now makes it?
So like I'll say, for example, I saw on the Steam sale, $20 for Prey. Now I know you love Prey, so that was a buy for you, I believe. For me, it was a wait for a sale. I said around the $40 price point. I see it for $20. I'm like, you got to jump on that. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm gonna bring up Best Buy, Black Friday, or Cyber Monday deals. And we're going to just look through some of the games and see what the prices are at. Let's see here. Black Friday video game and virtual reality deals. Perfect. Okay. Let's see here. Shop now, video game deals. Jesus Christ, the guy had me go through like 20 pages. Holy shit, what is wrong with this thing, dude? It's sending me through a bunch of pages. This is insane. Yeah, shop now. PS4 games, we'll say. Okay, finally. Okay. Sorry about that. Now, I said wait for a sale on Call of Duty World War II. What'd you give it?
I didn't even review Call of Duty World War II.
Right,
it was so buggy. I basically told people to not touch it until they fixed it. So,
okay.
And I haven't, because I'm busy. I haven't got a chance to return.
I hear something funny. The patches can like it's almost like a Master Chief Collection thing where the patches just keep fucking things up. Like there's different things like they put in one patch, it's like yes, this is fixed, and then there's something else that breaks. It's so frustrating. So $40 World War II. I'm gonna say you got to keep waiting on that one. Assassin's Creed Origins, $35 on sale.
Yeah, I think I told somebody yesterday that to me is worth the price, but I don't know if you heard this. Their patches are also fucking it up royally, technically. So they've fucked with the LOD. There's stuttering that's being introduced, console and PC. There's a huge number of YouTube videos about it. So I'll just say the version I reviewed, that would be worth buying right now.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Version I reviewed. Horizon Zero Dawn, $20. That's a buy in my book.
Fucking A, yeah.
Destiny 2, $30.
Yeah, I like Destiny 2. I still play Destiny 2. So
wow.
I was a buy on Destiny 2. I really enjoy Destiny 2, but that's a cheap price right there. Regardless.
Holy smokes. You want to talk about cheap? This just, I don't know if you saw my head kind of kick back. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus.
Yeah.
$25.
I saw that this morning. What, like, I don't. So remember, companies or stores can do whatever sale they want too. So it doesn't mean it did not well, but that was low.
Yeah.
I mean,
25.
That's insane.
That's below half price, and it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Do you think maybe because it's near this time, this Black Friday and stuff, maybe they just said, like, we don't want to be 60 because all these other games are cheap. You know, so I mean, we want to be within that same grouping because there's so many sales. Like, I don't know. That's low though. That is fucking. I'd buy 2 of them, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that's a oh man. I actually just beat that a couple of days ago. I didn't have a chance to tell you, and
dude, best part of that game though. I know the trailers were good. Did you like the guy in his fist?
Yeah.
I fucking rarely laugh out loud, but that one. That I don't want to ruin it for anybody. There are those cutscenes. There are some that are fucking hilarious.
Yeah. There's so many top-notch moments in this game. There's one moment that I literally like was sitting in this chair and I was like playing and something happened. I won't say what. And like I just sprung out of my chair. Was like, what the fuck? Like that. It was unpredictable plot twists that I say it confidently. No one can see coming. It's like,
okay.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. No way.
Also, now we're just talking about Wolfenstein, but also hats off to them for like their voice work, because in the farmhouse, that actor who plays the other character, I don't know if they've ever done a game before. And I know who they are because I've followed them in movies. They're always a particular type of character in movies. And when that guy shows up and the two characters are talking, and I'm like, this is fucking insane. Like these guys, like there was some, it's so weird because you see, it's almost like seeing Duke Nukem and saying, I expect good voice acting. You don't. Exactly. Like you don't.
That's
right?
The thing is, I remember when the New Order came out, like the biggest praise of it was they took a guy who was just known for being a Nazi killer and humanized him somehow.
Exactly. And they did it even more here, I think.
Absolutely.
It's shockingly well done.
Yeah. So I think out of all the games we've listed so far, that Wolfenstein 2 that's a must buy at that price point. I would confidently say at $60 you buy that. $25, that's a steal. You know, buy 2 of those motherfuckers. Boy, have you played Shadow of War?
I did 10 hours maybe.
$30.
If you like the game, I guess. It's so repetitive, dude.
Yeah.
It makes me want to punch myself. But I got one.
Okay.
Oh, well, speaking of that, did you review Shadow of War?
I didn't even touch that game.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, moving on. Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter, $15. That's the sequel to Crimes and Punishments. And even though it's technically a 2016 game, it's on sale at a couple places. And that one is well worth it at that price. It's not the greatest game in the world, but we are seeing some really low prices right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm shocked.
So am I. I'm just looking at some of them going like...
Here, for comparison, this surprises me, okay? Nier Automata came out March 7th of this year. $25. Now this is my game of the year. I love Nier Automata so much. Cannot recommend this title enough. I've gushed about it. I have like a 20-minute review on my channel on it. I love it a lot. So I'll say pick this up. But what I'm saying is that this game that came out 8 months ago is the same price as Wolfenstein 2, which came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's how good of a deal Wolfenstein 2 is.
That's insane. I'll say another. I got another one. Oh no, I forgot. I rated it a buy already. I had to look up my review. I will say this: No Man's Sky, still 2016. It's on sale a bunch of places, and most people who might think of getting it probably know what it truly offers. And now that you can step away from all of the PR bullshit and how cheap it is, it's a good indie price now. It's like $7 to $14. And to me, maybe now that you know what it's given you, maybe jumping in isn't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. I put it into perspective this way. I put 10 hours into it, and then I was like, oh my God, and then kept putting hours in it, and I was like, this is awful, but I spent $60 on it. If I spent $7 on it and got 10 hours out of it, I would have been a lot more happy with it.
Exactly.
Here's a good one, because, yeah, let's bounce around other years, too. Watch Dogs 2, $15.
That's exactly, I'm looking at that right now.
That's a deal and a half right there. I really enjoyed Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a must buy if you haven't played Watch Dogs 1, or if you haven't played Watch Dogs 2. You don't have to play Watch Dogs 1. There's only one mission in the game that recognizes Aiden Pierce, who's the protagonist from the first one.
And 2 has been patched up. I rated it a wait, so I would agree that's a good price. 2's been patched up a bunch. And 2, the one thing about 2, Matty, that blows me away is it's huge. I mean, you're like jumping in fucking boats and you're doing all these it's not as big as like a GTA 5, but it's got a lot of verticality. It's got a lot of just different things going on, and you can go into a lot of places and like watch the dogs do stuff. Like there's a lot of park life and shit. So it's one of those games that if you enjoy GTA 5 for just walking around, you might like this is a good game. Plus it has some good missions, some really good ones.
It's also co-op. There's also co-op you can do, or co-op missions, which not a lot of games support nowadays.
God, yeah, not a lot of games at all support that.
Yeah. Sims 4 came out a week ago and it's already $35. Okay.
Console was only 40, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the
50.
Console
was 50.
Was 50.
Bloodborne, that was a 2015 game, $15. That's still one of my top 3 PS4 exclusives. I absolutely love Bloodborne. It's probably out of any like Souls game I've played, it's either Bloodborne or Dark Souls 1, but I'd probably go with Bloodborne. So $15 for me. Although I never rated that away for a sale. That's one I gotta bring up as just a good deal. What else do we got here?
I got February 13th, Sniper Elite 4, and I rated it a wait for a sale. Almost rated that a deep sale, but it's certainly worth buying now, and it's like 12 to 17. It depends on which store you go to.
Wow,
and
okay.
that's
a good deal.
And it's not the greatest game in the world, but for that price, you know, that fits perfect.
I completely agree with that.
Oh, okay, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Oh.
Did you rent that or did you review that? Because I reviewed that and almost said don't touch. I gave it a wait for a deep.
I did not review it, but my friends and I were looking for. We're still looking for that co-op game because it's like non-existent, dude. That's why I'm so excited for Sea of Thieves, because it looks like a good co-op adventure game with friends, and there's just only competitive multiplayer. So we're like this close to just saying fuck it, get Wildlands, because it's the only thing out there that supports 4-player co-op. But
okay, well, dude, just so you know, you should. If I understand what you're saying, you distinctly are looking at that for multiplayer to play with your group of, dude, you'll love Wildlands.
Okay.
At this price, it's
how much is it?
At this, it's like $12.
Oh.
At our target is like $12.99. Yeah, and it even dropped pretty quickly on Ubisoft. They were doing some deals and shit, and so the most expensive I've seen in the last couple of days is $19. And so, to me, you and your friends, dude, well worth it. If that's what you want, and you're not like, we want to get through it all, but we just want to jump in and co-op and just blow shit up and hike around the land, you and your friends should get it like right now. That's worth it.
All right, that sounds like a done deal that I'm gonna have to talk to my friends about then. What else we got here?
Lego City Undercover. I reviewed that.
I never played that, actually.
Okay. I rated it a wait for a sale. There's a lot of tech issues that got patched, and that is well worth it. It's $19, $19.99. But
I saw Until Dawn for $15. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a very good one. Yeah. Until Dawn, I wasn't in love with, but it's a fun, like one or two times, like really good looking story.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Really.
Sniper Ghost Warrior 3 for $20.
Wait, Sniper Ghost War. Oh my God, I forgot about that game. Holy shit. Yeah. No, not for me.
Not for me either.
Oh man.
I saw that. I was like, oh God, maybe for $5.
Dude, that fucking game.
The load screens.
Goddamn, the load screens. How buggy it was. I have videos just of me like falling. There's one place where there's a ladder and no shit climbing down the ladder to get to the ground will have you go through the world and fall to your death. So you can't climb up and down this.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No.
Nope.
Stay away.
I just passed Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind for $25. I said to wait on that. I'd say around that price. That's a good one. For some reason, We Happy Few Deluxe Edition is in the Black Friday sales for $70. No.
Oh. The Surge.
Oh.
Surge is definitely worth it now. It's $29.99. It's $19. Yeah. It depends on where you go and which version you're going to get because you have the PC and the console. But it's definitely worth it now.
Yeah, that was a good game. Kind of like it was designed as a Souls type game, but
exactly.
For those who don't know, it's definitely a little bit shorter than those games where a Souls game you can put dozens of hours into, where I think Surge is around like a dozen plus. It's not very long.
And their new DLC comes out in like 2 weeks.
That's good.
They're in the park where it's an abandoned amusement park in the future. So pretty cool.
Oh, here's a good one. Tearaway Unfolded. Now I prefer this game on the Vita, just because it's actually one of the games that when the Vita was getting real support, like it made use of all its mechanics, but it's it's just genuine game. It's touching, it's cute. It's a neat for everyone game, but $13, I'd say that's a buy. Because that's a game that, well, I'd say I already said like you should pick it up, but I know some people are skeptical on those types of games, so I'd say like now is a good point. That's actually all the sales I had on my phone here, personally.
So I gotta look this up. I don't even want to say this out loud until I look at the price because I don't want anybody just freaking out that I'm mentioning this. But okay, here we go. So right now, at this price, I don't know if it's worth it. Okay. If you can get Agents of Mayhem for $10 to $15, you're good to go. On Steam, it's $19.99, it looks like. So I'm not sure about that, but 10 to 15 for the console version.
Yeah, I'd do
probably
that. $15, I'd say you're good.
Yeah. Anything over 15 makes me start to hedge my bet, because that game, the problem with that game, Matty, is it's one of the few games in the world that is also boring. Like it's rare you get a game that is boring. Like you just almost never see that because they're bad enough that it's funny, or they try. But that was one of those games where you're like, who tried and when did they do so? Because I haven't seen it.
Because they tried to like do the mix and match hero play, and it's like this should have just been a co-op game where everyone was blowing shit up. Just make it mission based, not open world. The open world, it's one of those open worlds that you look at and you go, "Oh, this is so unique. I'm in South Korea. It's this different art style, and it doesn't invite you to explore it that much because there's nothing there. Traversal's slow as shit.
Yep.
Like they give you superhero powers, but you can't traverse the world like a superhero, so you have to you're like a part-time superhero. You got to get in your car and drive where you want to go.
Yeah.
But then get out and be like, I got big guns and big explosive powers, motherfucker. It's like, I don't know how that exactly works, but all right. But yeah, $15, I'd say go for it. But outside of that, I mean, I remember that was a game that, I felt so bad. Like, normally I don't, but like when I was giving it away for a sale review score, like I just had like the credits flashing in my head of like all the people they're showing who worked so hard on the game. Yeah. I'm like, oh God, you guys are trying to get me to soften up the blow here.
Yeah, it was crazy. Another one, and I know you liked it more than me, but now I certainly think it's a totally okay price, is The Evil Within 2. It's now at $24. And
yeah,
I think that's well worth it. Also,
what I said
hidden
in my
first
review for
person
that
mode.
was they added first person in that game.
Hidden on the PC version. There's a hidden there. You can do a command. It's written about, and you can find it, and you can play first person.
That's
so
crazy.
It's awesome looking too.
Yeah, holy crap. Because
But what were you saying in your review?
In my review, I was just saying I think I said the price point that I'd wait for is about $35 for it. So 25, that's a go for it in my book. You know, it's one of those games though that you're not going to get like I think anything too amazing out of it, but you know, it's definitely worth that price. You'll get.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that was the one we did agree on. There was another one before or after that we had like a different level. I had forgotten that we had talked on Twitter about it in the DMs. And we were like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So I do. Okay, you're right. Yeah, I forgot.
Because I was like, bro, this is buggy. You're like, not for me. I'm like, great. This is awesome.
But I had other issues.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I mean, I guess Assassin's Creed Origins, but the lowest I'm seeing it at is 39. So
yeah, if it's at the $30, $35, I'd say.
Yeah,
I think in my review I said 40, but yeah, around there, 30 to 40.
I just don't know about those. Yeah, depending on your budgets and depending on the fucking those patches. Like I'm reading like even in Discord, there people are like, well, and I don't know about you, but so I was doing a walking the walk video for it. And because a game doesn't have to be the best for me to do a video, and I did the video and it patched in the middle of the video. And when I came back, you could actually see the difference. It was and like people were dropping from the sky. So it went from like their LOD was fine, their spawns were fine, to all of a sudden it being patched and me loading the game back up. And no lie, within the first like couple seconds, a bison falls from the sky and then just starts walking around the field, and I'm all, oh no. And from that point on, yeah, I think it's the only time during a walking the walk I've ever had a game like change dramatically.
That's amazing. That would have thrown me off so bad. I would have been like, do I want to redo the whole video? What the fuck?
Dude, trust me, it was quite confusing because I was just like, you know, because every game's going to have issues. But it's that nervousness also of like, oh shit, is this the game? Even like when you and I rate something a buy and the patches do destroy it. It's like you
can't
feel
see
that
the future.
Yeah, exactly. You and how many times have we sat there and been like, yeah, I bet you it'll patch it to be shitty. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's happened a couple times.
And
now.
it can work the opposite way too. You can say in your initial review, like for me with The Division, I was like, yeah, wait for a sale. And then they patch it so much. They fix a lot of problems, I thought.
Yeah.
DLC heavily improves the game, doubles the player base. It's like, at that point, fuck. I wish I said it was a buy, right? But, you know, you can't foresee that.
Exactly.
You gotta review it as is. It's like reviews nowadays have changed so much where you gotta... Not you got to, but, like, in order to keep up fully, you gotta, like, review, then, like, a year 2 review. Where it's like, okay, here's how it's looking now if it's been patched a lot. Like, with those shared world games. Because those can't be... That's why, like, with Destiny 2, I wait. You know,
makes sense, yeah.
It's one that it's like, yeah, I could hop in, not enjoy it now, but a year from now, it might be a game I really enjoy. So, you wanted to talk about, yeah, that's it for me too. You wanted to talk about the Xbox One X a little bit because you've been testing games on that. I think this is going to be the holiday season. I consider investing in like HDR and stuff, so we'll be talking about that too. But let's start off with the Xbox One X. How have you been liking your testing period? I would say since the Dreamcast, I don't think I've ever been that impressed. Okay. And it's funny because we were seeing developers, like there was a couple developers that are like, dude, you guys have no clue how powerful it is. And I was all, well, we do because there's specs. So, but at the same time, I think a lot of developers didn't want to say the truth, which was that the PS4 Pro did not take advantage of its specs as often as we would have liked to. Mm-hmm. And so it is weird to turn on the Xbox One X and even unpatched games. Did you see my links for Fallout? Did you fucking see? I was going to say.
That was redonkulously different.
Yeah.
I mean, oh yeah, because you said it looks like the PC version.
Yeah, I straight up said it was an unmodded PC version. Identical. Yeah. That was because none of the textures were muddy or anything. It was crisp.
Yeah, dude, it blows my mind. And I was playing, so with the CPU, with most games, they're compressed, and their compression uses the CPU to uncompress them. So your loading screen is longer because what it does, loads the data in, CPU decompresses it, and loads it into your game. And the X is faster. And so the loading times on the X are just like, wait, it's ready? What? There's been multiple times where I'll hit load on a game I've played hundreds of times and been like, I can take a piss and I can get a pop. Like, I know I can do that in this allotted time. And I'll do one or the other and walk by the TV and it's already going like, people are shooting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be like, what the fuck? Are you kidding? So there's all those improvements that don't require the PS4 hacking it and telling it to do the boost mode or whatever. There's no, they're already there. And then you get a lot of these companies who are doing their patches. Like Vermintide, I found out this morning, will be 4K native on the Xbox X. And I was just like, it's so nice to have that and not. There were so many times where I'd get the PS4 version and the PS4 Pro, and because it's a butterfly kind of design with the GPU, your resolution might be better, but your CPU was almost the same, so you would almost never see an increase. And for example, Skyrim VR is incredibly easy as a comparison. The two versions between normal and Pro are almost impossible to tell. Like, wow. Almost impossible to tell their difference. And yet, now with the Xbox X, almost every game or everybody who's come over and I've said, which system do you think this is? And they can't see my systems. And almost every time they've guessed. They're like, oh, that's definitely the X. So, wow. I mean, even the online game, DCU Online, had a couple frame rate drops. None. Just completely solid now. And that's so fucking nice, dude. Yeah, it's so nice to play. It is, because you're playing a console game and you're like, here we go. There's right frame rate. That's the thing. Like, they say, we're going to hit 30. And you're like, no, you're not. You're going to hit like 27. And it doesn't. And for the most part. And it's so nice. It's so fucking nice to get it and not feel, with a PSVR, I felt a little burned for a while. For the PS4 Pro, I felt burned for a long time, actually. Yeah. Like, price wise, like, do you get the upgrade? I did, because I wanted a review, and then it's like, oh, it wasn't that much of a difference. So so far it's been, Lone and I talked about it a little bit last week. It's just been really nice to see all the improvements with less difficulty involved. Just like, it's there and go play. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I was, like I said, looking into upgrading this this holiday season, because I feel like it's getting to be that time. Yeah. It's like I've had my TV for a while, and I think as a reviewer, like you said, like, it's probably useful if I start testing on stuff like that. So, with all the sales going on, I might actually make the jump. But that's good to hear that, like, performance improvements. I mean, we've seen it before, like when they announced KOTOR was coming back, and we saw the difference in, like, the original Xbox and then KOTOR on Xbox One X. It was like, what? It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy.
All they had to do was just redo the resolution to fit the TV screen. It would have been incredible. But yeah, I digress. That's good to hear that the Xbox One X is doing its thing. Skyrim VR was another thing you wanted to talk about too, because you'd been testing that. And I've seen, my perspective is, I've heard some weird things. You were talking about motion sickness. A patron in the chat, Lee, was talking about motion sickness. I think I saw a Game Informer's review which said the worst way to play Skyrim, and then just some general comments across the internet. But you were saying it was reviewing well, and you've been enjoying it, I believe, right?
Okay, so here, this is where timing matters.
Yep.
When you and I talked, I hadn't played a ton, but I was playing it. Like, I was starting to get into it. And then the PSVR second one of two died, so I had to switch out and jump back in. And I have to say, the longer I played it, so it rated really well by some, and then there was one really low one, so it like lowered the Metacritic way low, because like it was like 100, 90, 80, 85, 25, and 50. So it's like, so it sort of fucked those up a little bit. But I will say this, motion sickness, yeah. And you're talking to somebody who's not only accustomed to this, but somebody who I take Bonine, which is motion sickness, before it's a pill. I take it before I play. And dude,
wow,
there was a couple times where I was like, and what's weird about motion sickness, people don't understand. VR motion sickness is not car sickness. Car sickness, usually you can tell as it sort of spools up, and you can drive, and a lot of times you won't get car sick. It's when you're in that second seat. With VR, Matty, it'll hit you. I'm telling you, this is what happened when I was playing Skyrim. I was playing Skyrim, everything was fine, and I accidentally saddled or strafed, depending on what your term is. I strafed, and I am telling you, I grabbed that headset, and I was like, oh my God. And because I was so instantly sick, it was where everything was fine, and then it was like, oh my God, what's happening? Right. And the problem with VR sickness is it's instant, and a lot of people will say they get a weird feeling, like a pressure, and then it's like you can't get the headset off fast enough. So I invited a bunch of people over to play Skyrim. Oh. Fucking laid them out, dude. I thought they'd be fine. No lie. I thought they'd be fine. We got 7 people here, and one of the guys, and one thing is, yes, it's blurry as fuck. That is the honest truth. It looks like everybody got hit with a Vaseline spell in Skyrim. It's blurry as fuck.
I noticed that when I tested it.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah. So I'm like, here you go, guys. One guy is just like, oh, and this is after about 5 minutes, and I'm all, okay. We won't start you guys at the wagon. The wagon ride is a disaster. Like that's adding nastiness on top of nastiness. So I'm gonna get you guys to the first city. I'm gonna have you all play. What is it? What's the river?
Riverwood.
Riverwood. So then the second guy, dude, we're talking, and this is somebody who's played. He has a PSVR. He plays for like 15 minutes, and all of a sudden I look over and it's like the white of that PSVR and the white of it, and it's white. And I'm all, Mark, dude, do you feel good? And he's like, I feel a little weird. I'm like, you don't understand. You can't force yourself through this. You'll be fucked for the day. And he was fucked for the entire day. He left here with his wife, and he called me the next day and he's like, dude, it was 9:30 at night, a full 7 hours later, before I even started to feel normal. But everybody but one had motion sickness. I think the issue with Skyrim is that if you and I, who play it a lot, would notice this, the scale is off in PSVR. So if I'm going down a hallway, it's tighter than it feels in the normal game. And I'm pretty sure, so you can choose the scale of your character. I'm pretty sure they chose small to allow the game to run better. Yeah, and this is just a guess on mine, but I noticed that cave right at the start, and I'm like, whoa, this is way tighter. Way tighter. It just feels tighter, and that could be the PSVR, how it works.
Strange, because when I tested it, one thing I really liked about it was I put on the goggles, I was in Bleak Falls Barrow, and I remember like looking up at the ceiling, and it felt like I was actually in a cave. I was like, holy fuck, like this is a lot bigger than I remember. So that's interesting that you have that perspective. I do know what you mean when you're going in the hallways, though. Yeah, it did feel a little more like it was just very narrow.
Yeah, there was something very narrow, and even though it has a vignette, which is on purpose to stop motion sickness, I had that thing cranked, which means when you move forward, it goes almost periscope, and that's really supposed to help. It didn't. I think also the blurriness, Matty, I don't know any other way to describe it, but holy shit. You get off the wagon, the two people are, he's going to say like, who are you? The typical thing every game starts with. He's standing there. You can't see his face almost. It's like, it's so blurry, dude, and I was all, it can't be this blurry because it's supposed to be super sampled on PS4. But it dawned on me, there is a chance that what they're doing is they're super sampling it, and then they're using a thing called texture filtering. And on the Vive, there was 1 week where they patched it. And they put them both on. They turned them both on, and people just shit themselves. They were like, this is the most blurry. The moment you turn off the texture filtering, but you keep the super sampling on, it sharpens the picture. So that could be patched. That could be patched. But overall, if you can handle motion sickness and you give yourself some time, it is Skyrim in VR. So that's cool. It's just that fucking blurry is when the Skyrim version looks so much better on the Switch, it's sort of shocking to think about.
Yeah. Have you ever switched from VR straight to Switch and been like, holy shit, that's funny?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's night and day. It's like, imagine talking to like Lone or I at 420p or whatever, and then going to like a full crisp 1080p. That's about the Switch. Okay. So, yeah. So you like jump to the Switch, and you're all. And matter of fact, that's what we did because I was showing them. They wanted to see if the Switch version was any good. But it's not bad because I know people are just going to shit because this is a Bethesda channel or used to be. But it's still good. It just has some caveats that I wasn't expecting. I certainly wasn't expecting the motion sickness to just be so prevalent.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. And I've actually never experienced motion sickness via VR. But one thing I did notice when I was testing Skyrim VR, I'm not saying like I'll never have it. It's just I haven't played enough VR to really experience it. But when I was testing it, I had one thing happen that had not happened in my testing of any other VR game, and I tested a decent amount. Was like I actually like started to like wobble off balance at one point and like almost tip. Did they fix, or not fix, but rather add? Because when I tested it, they didn't have any inventory management, looting. They didn't have any conversations. That's all in the game, so it's a full game.
It's full game, yeah. That's all in the game.
Strange thing to leave out in a demo. That was weird.
It's very strange, actually. I think they probably had issues. I would say for sure. The inventory is really odd, Matty. You have to use. This looks bad. You have to like do some weird things to get the inventory to go up and down, and then drag, and then use the other thing to like the other wand to choose. It doesn't work the best. And what's weird is I think I switched probably 4 or 5 times between the move, and the controllers, and it never felt perfect. The move, the one thing that's nice is, of course, you can, just sort of lean the controller, and he'll go whatever way. But overall, that's VR for you. Like, the VR hasn't got that right. Skyrim does a pretty good job. I couldn't explain to you why the motion sickness happens, and you're being like teetery sounds to me like you were a couple steps prior, because that's what usually happens. You'll see somebody. You'll see somebody do this. Cadiz never been motion sick until I put him in a Vive, and he was playing Faded, and I watched him play, and all of a sudden, here's what he did. He's playing, everything's fine, and he goes, and I'm like, dude, take it off. Do you feel sick? And he's like, I feel something, and it ruined him. And that's because inertia. Your brain says I'm moving forward, but there's no wind in your face. There's no actions of you. And so what can happen is the brain is just like, fuck it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but I don't want people to think I'm dissing on it. It's just got some issues.
Fallout 4 VR manages to do inventory management in like a cool way, though. Like you can actually like bring up the thing and then like click around with the Vive.
I cannot wait to play that.
Yeah, that should be good. Because when you're playing Skyrim VR, were you doing teleport movement, or were you doing?
Oh no, I was doing. I mean, I did teleport to test that it works, but I did the walk around. Teleport just. It doesn't work for me.
I agree that why people don't like it, but I know that prevents motion sickness entirely.
It does.
Because when I was testing it, the guy who set up the demo for me, he was like, by the way, you can play however you want, but I definitely say teleport because you will get motion sick. I was like, okay. So
and what's, I mean, I think he's right, but you get used to it too. I mean, because there's car games. I think the weird thing, Matty, is it's not moving forward, because you can, in that game, you also control with your head a little bit where you move. It's moving this way, side to side. There's something and I do consulting for VR companies, and even they can't figure it out. Like, even their scientists will be all, listen, the only thing we can do is periscope you. There's something about your head not moving and moving side to side. And gamers do that now. We come up to a wall and then we go, and so we don't get shot. I mean, that's it, right. That's the fucking way you play. And I've done it with the bow and arrow in Skyrim in the normal version. You're like, oh, who's out there? But if you try that too much in VR, you'll be like, oh. It's funny, man. It's funny.
The first time I tried VR was like some just space arcade game, and I remember like you had a shield and a pistol, and I think
Space Pirate Trainer.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It was set in Newegg. I remember like they invited me out to try it, and they had like pistols underneath the shields. So I remember like having my shield up, and I was like, "This is cool." And I realized like I could have my gun and look over the shield and be like, "Oh fuck," and light them up. So yeah, but once you start doing that too much, you're like, "Oh, like that." Just falling off.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh god. But good to hear that Skyrim VR is just causing a lot of sickness out there. Poor folks.
But hey. A lot of people like it, and
that's good.
It's the full game, right? Like that's the positive of it. It's one of the few VR games that is like, Merry Christmas. Here's everything.
Last topic, Star Citizen.
Oh
You were,
yeah, so
you were
yeah, I
bugging
just
out
brought
about
it
this
up
game.
and I talked your ear off, but I just wanted people, if they get a chance, to check the 3.0 YouTubes, because supposedly, like, I don't know if this has been an open secret, but nobody talked about it until yesterday, so I'm assuming it is. But 3.0 is the, like, there's some gameplay that fully actually happens. And so yesterday a bunch of videos went live, and I randomly found one, I think just looking at my own videos, like it was a recommended, and I clicked it. And it's that point where, and I told you this prior to the podcast, it's that point where you look and go, oh fuck, this might be like, this might be a game now versus
Just
it's a
talk.
tech demo. Yeah. And to see normal gamers play it, and then one of the guys in the Discord is like, hey, I'm a part of this test, I can talk about it, I'm going to stream it today. And sort of hearing some of his explanations, if you can remove yourself from the alpha part of it, because it is an alpha, if you remove yourself from that and look at what is happening, it's the first time where I can say in a long time I've just been in awe of some of what's occurring. Like, ignore the business shit, because we know that weird shit, like, ignore all that. Hey, it's got a ton of issues when it comes to that. But when it comes to, like, watching somebody get in a vessel, and fly out into space, get on a space station, walk around, jump back in a different vessel, land, get in a fucking motorbike space thingy, fly around, show you the inside, and it works. And you're like, oh fuck, like, this might be something. Oh dude, it was phenomenal looking, even with the dropped frame rate. So
Yeah.
I just hope people get a chance to check it out.
That's one game that I think partially because it was kickstarted, and right, it was kickstarted.
It was.
Okay, because what happens is with a Kickstarter game, I don't know if it's just the way my brain works. Like, if I don't get in and start donating, I just don't feel like, all right, I'm not invested right now, so there's no point in me looking it up. I've never seen a thing on Star Citizen. Nothing.
Oh, gotcha.
Nothing.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
all I've heard is it's a WoW game, and I don't. And by WoW, I mean, like, not World of Warcraft, but like, whoa.
MMO.
So,
Gotcha.
no, I just mean like straight up like, whoa. And so I don't know why I haven't taken the time to look it up. I'll do it after this probably, but I mean, you certainly, based off the stories you told me and stuff, what's happening, as long as they fine tune it, work out the kinks, it should be spectacular. Do they have a release window for this?
It comes in two parts, because they, Kickstarter, like you said, originally their idea was different than what they're doing, but they have the single player next year, the end of next year, I think, and then, or the multiplayer at the end of the next year. But yeah, there's like split, like one will be the end of next year and one will be later. And the single player still has the open world. It's just that it's got a story with it. And then you've got the multiplayer, which is where people can join your game world.
Cool.
And the one thing that, like, I just see, I'm a nerd of the old style of, like, space sims, so Elite or Freelancer and I said sim, people are going to shit now that I've mentioned Freelancer, but I meant space games. Elite, Starlancer, Freelancer, those kind of games. And the idea that, like, you can buy a ship that's big enough to not only have like 5 other people on it doing things, but flying amongst the stars, and then all jumping in a truck to go do a mission, and it's all seamless, versus lobby, right? Everything's a lobby, and we're used to lobbies, I think, and probably some people will want them, but the idea that, like, we can travel, and watching them doing it now, because I think for the longest time people were like, is it like a honeypot? Is it like, we're going to show you some cool stuff, but we're just going to take your cash? And the fact is a lot of people who knew Chris Roberts, who's making it, were like, no, not the way he is. And they just keep plugging away, and they keep pushing it farther. It's true. But what we see, I told you this prior to the podcast, what we see is a game that looks like, if it continues in the tact it is right now, it'll be like a GTA 5, where every other game is compared to it as like the watermark, even maybe if everything's not perfect, but just as like, holy shit, how does another game compete? Because, dude, the animation, Matty, this guy gets in his fucking spaceship and he looks back and he's like, watch the animation just for the door shutting. the fucking like ladder comes in, folds into a modeled recess in the side of the door. Then the door comes, shuts, like dust and debris come off the door, air pistons and you're just like, that's in game.
Yeah, that's
you know?
like that absurd, almost, I wouldn't say unnecessary, but that extra
Almost
detail
yeah.
that you don't see unless it's real life, right? You know, that's,
Right.
and I think it just brings in that additional immersion factor with those little touches.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, and it's nice
Sounds
to be excited because it's fun. Everybody likes, you and I, we like to, critique things, but it's also nice to go, whoa, occasionally.
Just get excited, have some fun.
Yeah.
That'll wrap up what we have for this week.
Excellent.
It was a pleasure, sir, as per usual.
Yep.
Gotta delete the note I have on my phone because I'm like that. I don't know if you're like that, where like if I delete something, do you have an iPhone?
I have a cell phone, not an iPhone.
Okay. Because whenever I delete like a picture, there's like a recently deleted it goes to. Like same thing with the recycle bin, where you delete something from your computer, it goes to recycling bin. I have to like permanently delete it after that because I'm just like that. It's like, it's not fucking gone. It's like,
I do. Yeah.
It's like I wanted to delete it.
Yep. On my PC, I've never once just hit the original delete either. I have to go to the go to the little trash bin and go empty trash bin. I don't want it. And I know some people are like, but what if you want it back? And I'm like, I don't choose delete lightly, motherfucker.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have gameplay from, if I open up my recordings folder right now, and you can see the gameplays and the amount of files I have logged in for like each game.
Yeah.
No, I don't delete easily.
That's awesome. All
right.
And I hope everybody has a good holiday.
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Looking at Thanksgiving for some of us. I think most watchers are most of your watchers like US, or you have a ton of?
Yeah, what happened when I look, it goes US, UK, Canada, or US, Canada, UK.
Okay.
So it's in that order. So to those who did celebrate Thanksgiving, we hope you had a happy holiday. For the rest of you, we hope it was a good Thursday.
Yes.
On top of that, we do hope that you guys kept a close ear on the deals that we were talking about. If you wanted to see any of the deals that I was personally referencing, I was at Best Buy again. I do want to mention that. Karak, I don't know if you were on a specific site when you were going through them.
Best Buy and Amazon.
Okay.
I was on both.
Okay, so yeah, just I mean, basically every site now is having a sale, so you can just think of a game name, but we hope we jogged your memory on any of those. And we will catch you guys in next week's episode.
Oh, wait, we need a hashtag.
Yep, I was just about to say. It's always that. It's like I close it out, and then we're like, wait, one more thing. We could be real cheesy and use the hashtag thankful. Yeah, you yawned. That didn't. Yeah, that definitely didn't click.
Not in time.
You're like, I've heard better.
Yeah, who cares about being thankful? What was the term I used for? Because shit is bad right now. But I used a term, or you used a term when I was talking about Star Citizen, where I was excited. Was it just excited? There was something else.
Excited, euphoric.
Oh darn, I can't remember.
Stoked. It's good to be excited.
It's good to be excited.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Is it long enough?
Hashtag
do that.
Good to be excited. That's
some
perfect.
people take it sexually, but that's fine.
That's true. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this deep, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.